Hi guys, so tonight this was a requested video a while ago and finally getting around to making it. Sorry about that, Rick. But these are bananas that we just got recently. 35 cents a pound. We couldn't help it by getting so many. So I'll freeze some for ice cream, and these ones here, well, these, as you see, are starting to get pretty old, so we're going to go ahead and throw them into a bread. So what you need for this recipe is about 4 or 5 bananas. I'm going to go ahead with 5 because this one's kind of bruised up. Okay, so to get started, we're going to go ahead and put in the bowl 4 cups of flour. I'm using the white whole wheat. You may use whatever kind you have. 4 cups. This is going to make 2 loaves. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and put in 2 teaspoons of baking soda. The recipe I have is calling for 2/8 teaspoon of salt, but I'm leaving that out. And it also calls for 1 cup of butter, and we will go ahead and substitute the butter with applesauce. So we'll use 1 cup of applesauce. Here's the kind I use. It's these little cups. 2 of these cups is equal to 1. Well, oh, I'll show you. Not quite, but definitely 1 and like 3/4 of the other will equal to the cups that we need for this recipe. Okay, so in a nice clean bowl, we're going to go ahead and don't add these 2 cups. I just laid that in there for you to show you. I just dump them in there like that. Just a little left over, not quite much. See, I used almost all of it. And the next step is 6/8 cup of brown sugar, but I am not using brown sugar. I'm going to go ahead with dates, and I'll show you that. Okay, here's what kind of dates I use. They are the pitted dates. I'm going to go ahead and open them up. And I'll go ahead and just fill up a measuring cup. I'm just going to make my measuring cup heaping. I'll give it a little press down in there, like that. And I'm going to make like a heaping. Since it's 3/4 of a cup, we'll start with this. There we go. Whoop, that little guy don't want to stay in there. And then what I'm going to do is just toss it into my blender. Don't mind my tomatoes, those have to be canned. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of water to blend. I'm just going to give it about 1/2 cup of water. And I'm using the Blendtec high-speed blender. We're going to go ahead and put that on high. Okay, you see it. I'm going to need to add a little more water to that because we want to go ahead and blend it up. So we'll go ahead and add another 1/2 cup. Okay, that looks about right, like that. You want it sort of like a paste. Now we're just going to go ahead and add it to the bowl. Okay, so the date mixture's in there. This will be the sugar. Then you just stir it till you get it all blended. Like that. And then we're going to go ahead and add in 2 eggs, which in my case is not going to be eggs, it's going to be this here energy replacer. So I'll use 3 teaspoons of this. What that looks like, just comes in a powder, and that replaces the egg. And then stir this up, and then next we're going to go ahead and add in our bananas. Okay, so here's how I like to mash mine. I have the 5 bananas, and I got this little pastry cutter, and then you can just bring it down like this and just mash them all up. or you can use a fork too if you have a fork. Okay, there's how I mash them with the masher, with that pastry blender. Then we're just going to go ahead and add that into our mixture. Okay, next you're going to go ahead and add in about a teaspoon of vanilla and about a teaspoon of the orange flavor extract. And once you get that added, then you go ahead and mix this all up and blend it really well. It's already smelling very good. Okay, and then the next step we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to add this to our flour mixture. You can go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 and get your pans ready. I'm using these small pans, just a regular old bread pan, and then just sticking a sheet of parchment paper. It doesn't necessarily fall in until you start pouring the batter. Once you pour the batter, you see how it will go down in. Then you can kind of maneuver it to come out. But anyways, get your pans prepared and make sure your oven's at 350 to bake. Okay, and go ahead now and add your liquid into your flour, and then you're just going to lightly mix this all up. Okay, now see how I've mixed it some and then it gets sort of dry. You want to add water. So I got about a cup here of water. We're just going to go ahead and add in a little at a time and then stir. Okay, so that took a half a cup of water, and you're just going to add, like I said, little bits at a time. Stir it up, fold it, you know, make sure nothing is dry at the end. You'll see here nothing's dry. Then this is about the consistency you want your batter. And then I'm going to add walnuts to mine. You may or may not, but this is better if you do. And so basically what I do is I just make my own chopped walnuts by getting the whole walnut and then sticking it in my food processor and giving it a you go around until you end up with this. See? Nice chopped walnuts. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a half a cup. That looks about right. You can add as many or as little as you want. You can even put raisins in here if you want. You know, be creative. Okay, now you see I already started pouring it into the pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish bringing it up. But I can't do it with one hand. But then I always cut this excess paper off here. You know, just so it doesn't burn in the oven. Because that could catch fire if it's too long. Sometimes I wish they made them to fit exactly into your pans, but lots of times they don't. So that's all you have to do to solve that problem. Once you pour it in, give it a stop and then come back and trim her up like you're giving it a haircut. And then you can go ahead and finish pouring your batter in. Okay, now there's what it looks like when it's put in the parchment paper. This one has a little less in it, but it doesn't matter. They will raise, so. But then you're ready to go ahead and stick it in your oven, and we're going to bake it for about 60 to 65 minutes. Once a toothpick comes out of the middle clean, then you know your bread is done. Okay guys, see how the bread split? Now you want to test it by putting a toothpick down in the middle and see if it comes out clean. Yep, so they are ready. Another way to double check it is by lifting it up and seeing if the bottom is brown, and which it is. Okay, now these have to sit to cool before we can slice it open. Okay guys, these are going to go ahead and cool. Now the best way to do that is put them on a little rack. That way they'll quit baking when you put them on a rack, instead of taking them out of the pans. If they stay in the pans, they'll bake a little more. So Just a little tip. Okay guys, it's cold now, and I went ahead and sliced it so you could see. It's very sweet because of the dates and the bananas. It's delicious though. Well, hopefully you like this little video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Bye-bye.